Friends, Dr. MVRao here. Today we are going to discuss about a very important book by name The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, written 13 years back by author Stephen R. Covey. Since 13 years, the book was sold more than 30 million copies. In 30 languages, it was sold. It was translated. And I have read this book 30 years back, and since that time, I've been reading wherever I speak, at least once in a year for the last 30 years. I have almost by-hearted the book. It takes number of hours to explain the book completely, but we have a limited time in our video, and I will try to explain it within 20-25 minutes, all the 7 habits one after the other. Stephen R. Covey, in the introductory chapter, has written about 3 things. One is, what is a habit? A habit is formed by knowledge, skill, and attitude. Knowledge we learn, of course, when we were students, and skill, as you start working somewhere, you will learn a little bit of skill. But attitude is one thing you will learn in this book. Your life will change completely. This is a roadmap for our life. This book has changed my life 380 degrees. What is effectiveness? Because the name of the book is 7 Habits of the Most Effective People in the World. Almost all the presidents of all countries have read this. Most successful people have read this book. So what is effectiveness? To describe effectiveness, we have already learned about a short story, The Goose and the Golden Egg. The golden egg is what output you bring out from your work. The goose is your body. If you look after your body properly, then the body will give you the golden eggs up to 80, 90, or even 100 years. You can keep working. So effectiveness is the balance between what you produce, the production, and the production capacity. If you feed the body properly, take exercise, take rest, then take balanced diet, you will live happily, healthily for 100 years. This is effectiveness. And the third one you got to learn in the introduction is paradigm. Paradigm is how you think, your belief, your attitude towards something. Suppose you have a paradigm that antibiotics are bad and I will never take an antibiotic in my life. If you decide, when severe infections come, if you don't take an antibiotic, you will die with that infection. People used to die at the age of 30, 40 years in the past. Now people live for 70, 80 and 90s. Why? Because of the improvement in the modern medicine. So these are important things that we got to learn in the introduction of the book. Then going to the first habit, be proactive. Don't be reactive. Proactiveness is taking responsibility. You are responsible for your life, not someone else. Taking initiative. Take the first step. Before your children get spoiled, you teach them discipline. Before you become sick, you take exercise, take proper diet. Before exams come, as soon as you join in the college, start learning, start reading the books. Then you will not become reactive. The animals have only a reactive brain, they don't have a thinking brain. They cannot be proactive, they are programmed to be like that in the nature. If you want to show a difference between animals and yourself, be proactive. The opposite of this is reactive. Don't be reactive. Act before being acted upon. When the exams come, they act upon you. But you act before being acted upon. Start reading from the first day of joining the college. This is acting before being acted upon. Taking responsibility. Lead a value-based life. Have some values like hard work or smart work, then truth, non-violence, fairness. All these are values you got to keep. And the language you use shows the world how proactive you are, whether you are a reactive person. Suppose you are going on the road on your car. Some scooter or some cycle comes on the way. If you are reactive, you get down, catch the fellow for having overtaken you, for having cut you, and you have a fight with him. But don't do that, because the consequences will be severe. The main difference between animals and human beings is we have a thinking brain. In the thinking brain, we have self-awareness, imaginative power. If you do this, what's going to happen? And conscience, what's good and what's not good, what's bad. Whereas animals cannot think like this. Be different from animals. If the bull sees a red flag, it comes and pushes you. We human beings are not like that. The reactivity that you see in the movies, in the serials, if you follow that, you are sure to fail in your life. So, be proactive. Don't be reactive. Proactive people are driven by values, whereas reactive people are driven by their feelings, their emotions. So, proactive people subordinate their feelings for their values. This is more important. Another thing, the difference between proactive and reactive people, proactive people think about things they can influence, whereas reactive people, they think about everything in the world, about the weather which you can't change, about the politics. If you are not a politician, you can't change. Whereas proactive people, they are within the circle of their influence. What they can influence only, they think about them. They won't spend their time in the circle of concern. They are always spend their time in the circle of influence, and they keep on increasing their influence. This is the most important of all the 7 habits. Even if you learn this one single habit, you are going to change your life. And that's how I changed my life. I became very successful after reading this book some 30 years ago. That is the reason this book is in my heart, in my soul, in my mind, page by page.